Welcome, welcome, welcome. The wait is over. If you have endured my previous long and boring videos and all that silly stuff like irradiance, efficiency, wavelength, dosing, cellular saturation, blah, 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 blah. The wait is finally over. Yep, that's right. In this video, we are going to apply all that silly nonsense on a real life product to see if it can stand up to the standards we identified in all those silly videos. And not just any product, nope. We're gonna look at the top dog in the panel business. That's right, today we will look under the hood of the #1 panel in the biz, according to Fergus, who I believe has his pulse on all the top players in the business. Now, it is true that he gets a kickback from these guys, which puts him in a precarious position between truth and a paycheck, but I think he does a good job. I've looked at all his reviews, and personally, I think he walks that tightrope better than anyone I know. If you're looking for a panel, I encourage you to go to his website and look what he has posted. He supplies all the details, as he has already measured and reviewed all the top panels. Overall, it's nice work, and for the most part, it's true. There is no sense in me reinventing the wheel. I'm going to build off of Alex's hard work. So thank you, Alex. So, if you saw his 2025 video on the top 10 most powerful red light therapy panels compared, I'll put the link below, you would see that he named the Biomax 900 as the best panel out there. So, that's the guy we're going to go to look at. Might as well go to the top and start there. Now, before we start looking under the hood, we need to go to their website and take a look at what they are claiming. This is where I find most companies start to stray. Alex and so many others point this out, so let's see what Platinum's up to. I should tell you it's fitting that I'm looking at these guys, as I used to go up against them in the horticulture space. That's right, these guys came from the pot growing business. They did not do so hot over there. I suspect it was because of the form factor. Yeah, they had that same boxy panel for the plants. They were going up against some bigger guys that had been in the business a little longer and had already established a different form factor. It's no surprise that they packed up and went over to the red light therapy side. On this side, they forced the same form factor on the market. In future videos, I'm going to push into the industry to break free of the Sherman tank. Panels just simply don't have to look like that. But that's a topic for another episode. Okay, let's see what Platinum is up to on their website. As far as specifications go, they list the Biomax at 490 watts with 300 LEDs, 100,000 hours, and a whopping 7 wavelengths. Hallelujah, 7? Wow, that's a lot. If you saw my other videos, you'd understand why I'm making a big deal out of that nothingness. Okay, all seems normal here. We'll have to look under the hood to see if they are really correct about their numbers. Next comes their irradiance. Okay, this is important. One of the most important aspects of a panel. So let's see what they say here. When you look at this, they are claiming 280 milliwatts per centimeter squared at 6 inches. The very same 6 inches that Fergus measures all his panels at. What did Alex say the Biomax 900 was? 90 milliwatts per centimeter squared. Wow, 280, 90, big difference. What's going on here? Oh wow, well you look at this little snake in the grass behavior. They say reading by a solar meter. Wow. Now in my past videos, I went into great detail why this is bad. Furthermore, on their very own page, they state that spectrometer that I endorse is the new standard, but also state, I quote, does not provide total accurate light energy output. That's a crock of bullshit. It absolutely does. They're just covering their ass because the official readings said something way less than their 280 milliwatts per centimeter squared that they have posted on their website. This is the shit I'm talking about. I am so tired of salespeople. If your product can't stand up to the truth, then don't sell it. Okay, look at me getting all heated. This channel is about protecting you guys, and I'm passionate about my goal. But let's keep going here. Looky here. They have third-party testing. This should be fun. Let's take a look at this. Well, that's one feather in their cap. They use Light Labs as their third-party testing. Now, I know these guys very well. I have worked with them for years, very respected in the industry, so whatever they say, I will agree with. But one thing I do know, this very, very well, Light labs will only test what you tell them to and nothing more, as you have to pay for the testing. Let's see what they said about the Biomax 900. They say they measured 144 red, 150 infrared, and 4 blue. That's funny. The panel shows 6. Maybe that's a typo. Next, look at the measured wavelengths. I only see 3 peaks, 630, 660, and 850. Not sure where the 7 wavelengths come in, but we'll find this out when we get under the hood. So far we have a lot of holes, but this one is my favorite. On their site, they say their LEDs last 100,000 hours. How do they come up with this number? I know this intimately. To make this claim, you need to know how the LED is used in the environment. For that, you need an LM79 report, LM80, and TM21 report. None of these have been done, so this 100,000 hours is just something they got off the LED manufacturer's spec sheet, which means nothing. We have no idea how long these LEDs will last. And finally this. This is marketing at its best. There are 2 things that just blow my mind. First is they show competitors having weaker 660 and 850 than they do. Why do we have to do this? 660 is 660, no matter who delivers it. The competitor's 660 should look exactly like theirs does. Are we trying to imply they deliver more? Well, that's not what this chart is about. This chart tells you how deep the light goes in the layers of your skin. So, their 660 penetrates deeper than other guys' 660? Holy shit, it's a miracle. Someone better let Einstein know, as all of his theories are wrong. Platinum knows something he doesn't. This one is even better. Look at how they make you believe all the wavelengths travel through the skin layers to the same depth. We all know this is simply not true. Platinum, you have a lot of shit to clean up on your site. If these guys are the best, I cringe at what the others are doing. Now, it's at this point I should mention that I don't have anything against Platinum LED. I'm not picking on them. I simply just went to the number 1. When you are the number 1, you have to be ready to defend yourself. In fact, before doing this, I reached out to them to see if they wanted to be a part of this review to give them a chance to guide me in my understanding of their product and their website. And they gave me the standard brush off. Okay, so their website needs some love. But in the end, we want to know what the product looks like. Let's get to that. And for this, we need to head over to my lab. Okay, welcome to my lab. I'm in the process of renovating my building, so in future videos we'll have the studio right here. In the meantime, you have to put up with those videos shot at my home office. New set coming soon. So let's dive right in and take a look under this hood of the Biomax 900. We're going to open this guy up and trying to determine the product parameters that Alex Fergus doesn't have the ability to do, which are overall product quality, system efficiency, power in versus power out, what wavelengths are actually in this device, and finally, what power and irradiance is being delivered to each of these wavelengths. With these measurements, we'll tie it all together and determine if this panel will live in my exercise room or is going to end up in next year's yard sale. Okay, so this design looks very familiar. Nothing new here. First thing I notice is they only have 2 drivers running the 7 wavelengths. That's strange to me. We will have to see how they do this. Here's one thing I notice. They use a so-so driver. I know this driver very well. It's not very efficient, only 88%. That means if you put 200 watts in, you only get 176 watts out. That's 24 watts. This does not go into that wonderful red light that we want. There are much better drivers out there that get around 93, 94%. So someone at the company made one simple decision to save money. All she had to do was simply choose the one over the other. No engineering needed, just a financial decision. If they cut corners here, where else did they cut corners? Okay, this is interesting. This is a very small 12-volt, 24-watt power supply that I'm also very familiar with. Nothing special about this guy other than the fact that it is connected to what appears to be the blue LEDs. It is also powering the control board. This means that they only have 24 watts to supply the control board and the blue LEDs. I wonder how much actual power the blue LEDs are getting. We should find that one out. Other than that, everything looks good here. I actually know where this product is made in China, as I've been to this factory a few times. It's a good factory and it could be seen in the assembly. Aside from the poor driver selection, I think the assembly looks great. That's a plus for Platinum. Okay, so next, to get the system efficiency, we're going to measure the incoming power and then subtract the power going to the LEDs. And we can get access to these LEDs from here, here, and here. I won't bore you with the steps of hooking up and unhooking my meters. I'll just show you what I found and I will summarize it in the end. The first thing to notice is this panel is split into two. One side is for the 810, 830, and 50, and the other panel is the 630, 660, and the 1060 LEDs. Let's look into each of these. At the end of the day, we want to know what irradiance are we getting and what wavelengths are giving it. When you turn the unit on, you see a lot of red and some blue. Let's see where this comes from. Okay, first we're going to measure the 660 wavelengths, and I'm going to use the same protocol that Alex Fergus uses, 6 inches off the table. There you have it. You got your standard 48 milliwatts per centimeter squared, and it is showing around that 660. That's that guy. Okay, next we'll measure the blue, which is very difficult to do. As an example, I don't know where your body's at, but let's say you're here. Well, all you're going to get is the red. So in order to get the blue, you got to be right over the blue. We'll try and do that. I don't know how your body would do that. And there you have it. You can see the little blip of blue down there compared to the red. Why even bother, I wonder? But even so, you're getting a combined of 48 milliwatts per centimeter squared. Okay, now we got the infrared on, and we also, the blue stays on all the time, so we'll give the blue another shot here, even to be safe here. Okay, so here the blue's got a little better of a blip, and that's simply because the infrared is not nearly as powerful as the 660. You can see we only got 27 milliwatts per centimeter squared. Now let's measure the infrared and see what we get. We'll try and stay away from the blues, see if we get an accurate value here. There you go. 63 milliwatts per centimeter squared. Now, if you watched Alex's top 10, he gives the Biomax a 90 milliwatts per centimeter squared. So what we're going to do is we're turn them all on and total it up. It might give us a better value. Okay, let's do them with all on. This is the most important way anyway. It's what most people would do. So here we are with the standard 6 inches away. Okay, more like that. See, there you go. We've got 87.1 milliwatts per centimeter squared, and you can see that we've really only shown the two peaks. We don't see the blue or the 1060, but that's more in line with what Alex shows. It turns out that one of the LED drivers handles the IR LEDs, and the other handles the near-infrared LEDs. So that means 200 watts goes to the 810, 830, and 850 nanometer in a zebra stripe diagonal pattern, as can be seen behind me. The other 200 watts goes to the 630 and the 660. So where does the 1060 and 480 nanometer come in? Well, for the 1060, they pepper in 12 LEDs throughout the panel, just 12. For the 480, it's even worse, just the 6 you see here behind me. Yeah, they provide you a whopping 4 watts of total 480 nanometer blue to your body. If you saw my video on cellular saturation, you would agree with me when I say, why bother? 4 watts? Please. This is just you trying to say you have 7 wavelengths. In this case, more is truly not better. Okay, in summary, the incoming power to the unit was 486.7 watts, very close to the 490 listed on their website. Total power to the near-infrared LEDs, 205.4 watts. Total power to the IR LEDs, 208.25 watts. And inside of this 208.25 watts was the 12 1060 nanometer LEDs. I cannot break these guys out, so I have to just estimate. There are 148 LEDs dedicated to IR, and 148 LEDs dedicated to near infrared. So 12 out of these 148 are 0.08% times 208.25 gives you a whopping 16.9 watts of 1060 nanometer. You know, the wavelength that will reach that nice deep depth that they list on their website. 16.9 watts out of the 490 is going to go reach my very sore muscles that really need this red light therapy. And last is the power to the 6, yes, 6 480 nanometer LEDs. A whopping 4 watts. Are you kidding me? 4 watts? This is a joke if you ask me. My little laser pointer that I use to drive my son's cats crazy give off more power than that. Anyway, the combined power to the LEDs is 417.6 watts. With an input of 486 watts, this means 69 watts was lost to inefficiencies. This makes the entire system 85.8% efficient. All in all, this is not horrible, but it could be much better. I like to see these numbers in the 92% range. Every watt lost in the inefficiencies is a watt not delivered to you in the form of light. And all it takes to get that number higher is someone who cares. They don't even need to change the design. No work needed. Just change the executive decision to pay the money for better components, and that number goes up. I know this with 100% certainty because the companies I deal with demand 94% and tell me to embed that cost into the price. Platinum should do the same. Their claimed wavelengths do match what they list on their website. However, I will argue they only have 2 wavelengths, and I will use their very own third-party testing to confirm this. This is a shot at what the body will see. What did Light Labs come up with? Just imagine you are the body, and what do you see hitting you? I only see 660 and 850. Do you believe that your cells can discern 810 from 830 from 850? Remember what the light is doing. It's being absorbed by the cells, which is then converted into heat. The energy difference between 610, 630, and 650 is infinitesimal. So no, the cells cannot tell the difference. To the cells, these wavelengths are all lumped together. I'm okay leaving the 3 different wavelengths in there because, as I've mentioned in so many of my videos, as scientists, we don't know what we don't know. What we know now is the closeness of these wavelengths don't matter to the cells, but that's today. Tomorrow, a study may be done to determine the cells do get some benefit from this small separation. So that's why I'm okay with the 3 being left in there. However, what we do know is having more radiance is better. So what I'd like to do is look at the 3 different wavelengths and determine which one produces the highest irradiance and use that one for all 3 of the wavelengths. We saw that the 850 nanometer gives off 10% more radiometric power than the 810 and 30% more than the 830. By simply converting all 3 of these wavelengths to 850 nanometers, they will increase their total irradiance by 10%. Let go of the sales hype of more wavelength is better and deliver more irradiance. That's what I say anyway. The same thing can be said about the 630 and the 660 nanometer LEDs. Pick the most efficient of the 2 and go with that. Deliver more irradiance over more wavelength. I'm going to drive this home in all my videos, and I highly encourage anyone out there that can scientifically defend this against me to please contact me. The consumer needs to know this. I really want to shoot a Dr. Dave Eats Crow video. So that leaves the 480 and the 1060 nanometer wavelengths. Can anyone even see these in the graph? I know I can't, and if I can't, do you think your cells can? Either deliver the wavelengths or don't. It's that simple. For me, I find no value in the 480 nanometer blue. Do you know that all the LED lights that you buy from your favorite hardware store come loaded with 480 nanometer blue? Yeah, in this business, we passionately call the white LEDs the blue pump LED because the LED starts out as a 440 nanometer blue LED and they cover it with phosphor to get the other colors to make white. but the phosphor does not absorb all of the blue and a large amount comes out. From this graph, you can see that everyday white light bulbs that you are bathing all day long has blue from 420 to 480 nanometers in it. Why do you need more? Furthermore, there are so many studies coming out regarding its health benefit. I'm not going to go into that and weigh in on that. All I'm going to say is if you are only going to deliver 6 LEDs with a total of 4 watts, why bother? Especially when all the lights in your house give off 10 times this all day long. Okay, so this leaves my favorite, the 1060 nanometer LEDs. Now, if you've been paying attention, these are the guys that will make it to the deepest parts of your body. I'm not looking to rejuvenate my fat cells. These guys get enough of that from the shitty food I eat. I need this light to make it down to the parts of my body that need the love the most. The muscles that I tore up in the last Spartan I did or the last High Rocks. Yeah, I'll bet you never knew old Dr. Dave here is a bit of an athlete, did you? Just Google my name and you'll see some of the times I've had over the years. I'm not headed to the Olympics anytime soon, but I surely am not going to be the last one picked on the neighborhood dream team. So when it comes to muscle fatigue, I know what I'm talking about, and I know I want 1060 nanometer in my panel, and I want a shit ton of it. Can you imagine my disappointment when I only got 12 LEDs at a piss poor 16.9 watts of the wavelength I truly need? This guy's certainly ending up in my yard sale next year. I can't believe I even bought this thing. I sure wish there was a way these manufacturers could tell us before we buy. And that is exactly what I'm pushing for. So there you have it, a real breakdown on the Platinum LED Bionex 900 and why it'll never end up in my fitness room. If this is the #1 in the industry, something needs to be done, and I'm here to help. Tune in next time where I outline a new matrix of how manufacturers should list their products so you know what you are getting before you buy. Until then, get outside, get some red light, Mother Nature gives it for free.